Welcome to Branding the Experience, where we discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. Hi, I'm Ken Bader, your host for Branding the Experience, and I have a really interesting guest, and she's definitely interesting because she went to the same college that I did. Us DePaul University Blue Demons have to stick together, even though we don't live in Chicago anymore. Let me tell you a bit about her. Her name is Jill Humphrey, and she is the Vice President of Business Development for Landry's. And I know you know Landry's because they're a great steakhouse. They also own Morton's and Rainforest Cafe and Bubba Gump, and I can go on and on. But Jill has an extensive experience. She worked at Morton specifically. She was the National Director of Accounts, and she's been the VP of Business Development for almost 9 years. So she's got a wealth of knowledge. Jill, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ken. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you, and I appreciate you taking a little bit of time on what I know is a busy day. You have more than just one or two locations out there to kind of manage and worry about, don't you?
That's very true. That's very true. We're very busy with over 600 locations. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it seems like I've been to like 599 of them sometime, but
I think you have, Ken. I think you've been to just about every one.
well, except for the Rainforest Cafe, just simply because I don't have children. But and I generally don't want to eat my burger with a big stuffed gorilla just kind of looking at me in the booth. So that's what I don't frequent. But I love your Morton's, being a Chicago guy.
That's outstanding.
So let's start with your restaurant experience and so forth. Here, this is being recorded in mid-November 2020, and to say 2020 has been a difficult year would be quite an understatement, especially for restaurants, small and large. So I'm just going to simply ask, how are you doing with all of this here now, a good, 7, 8, 9 months into COVID?
Well, I tell you, it has been quite the experience and quite the adventure. I know that this has been such a hard, difficult year for so many. And being in the hospitality industry, that certainly has hit us in a very unique way. What's so great about Landry's, though, is that we have such a strong sales force and executive team where we were able to really pivot into doing different things other than on-site conferences or banquet events that you have been used to experiencing when you go to our hotels or if you go to our restaurant private dining rooms. So we have a whole host of other options that are available when you can't gather in person.
Yeah.
So we're doing good. We really are doing good.
Good. I'm very pleased to hear that. Being somebody that is both a customer and a business person has been privileged to use your locations. Always been a great experience. But speaking of experience, since this is branding the experience, one of the things that I've been impressed with, not only at several different brand locations, but also in speaking with you, that, much like the tagline of the show, that it does start with the employees. As I've said several times, it's very difficult, almost impossible to have a positive customer experience when your employee experience is not up to snuff. To that point, I even remember Tillman Fertitta, your boss and CEO, saying on CNBC, and I agreed with this 100%. He talked about the PPP and making sure that his employees were taken care of, and I saw that as a real positive in having that focus. Through this very difficult time, can you speak to, how you're really taking care of your employees at your restaurants and casinos and hotel locations?
Well, just generally speaking, I mean, our employees are just as important as our guests, and we would love to be able to bring everybody back from furlough and have them back working at our company, but that's just not possible. So The employees are certainly being taken care of, from a hotel standpoint and from a restaurant standpoint, and employees that are still here at our corporate office, we are just coming together in a very strong way and looking at all the different avenues that we can for revenue streams.
Yeah, yeah. What might you say is the key to a great employee experience? I know this year has been more difficult than any other years, but yeah, I find that when I go to a Morton's, when I go to a Landry's, Mastro's, Bubba Gump, Claim Jumper, that it is a positive experience with the employees. In fact, I'll even share this with you, and it's important for branding the experience. A very close friend of mine worked for a number of years at a Claim Jumper. He's since moved on and he's got another career and so forth. But it was interesting in pre-COVID when we could actually do things like go to a restaurant and sit at a bar. He would often suggest this, hey, let's go to Claim Jumper. And I even asked him, why in the heck do we have to go to Claim Jumper all the time? And he said specifically, he says, I worked there for a number of years. I know their process. I know their food's going to be good. I know the place is going to be clean, and I know we're going to get good service. And to have an ex-employee, have that type of feeling is huge. So, what is it about, you're an employee of Land. What is it about, the Landry's Corporation that makes people want to work there and even think positively about them after they move on?
I think that we have a culture where we're very proud of our assets. It's not just one brand that we're selling, but it's multiple brands. So we have a very exciting portfolio to sell, whether it's our hotel division or the entertainment division, where you have the Downtown Aquarium or the Houston Rockets or the Pleasure Pier and our other theme parks, and then our very large footprint with our restaurant brands. So you've got the Bubba Gumps and Rainforest Cafes of the world, right up to the Del Frisco's and Morton Steakhouse. So it's a portfolio to certainly be very excited about. I think that one of the great things about all of our employees is that we're a very nimble company. So when we're faced with situations like COVID, we have to be very smart and strategic, and we have to execute very quickly and in a very smart fashion. And that really keeps people on their toes, and it keeps them engaged. Our communication is very great. So if we're working on an initiative, it's not like we're in our own separate silos trying to make something happen. We're pulling in all of the various different departments who are the experts in their own fields to help with the initiative. So we have great communication, and we're just staying as positive as we can throughout this, because we are going to come out of this, and we already are coming out of it. So it's just really kind of maintaining that attitude, and helping everybody stay positive.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it comes down to attitude. Yeah,
Yeah.
I even remember a mentor slash boss I had a number of years ago when we were trying to tackle a difficult goal, and he said, sometimes all you got to do is just believe.
That's so true, Ken. That is so true. And that's so funny because I have a colleague, we say that frequently. We believe, and even when times are tough. And so you do have to have that attitude, and it just makes it all the more easier, especially when you're faced with a situation like this. And we have amazing assets that we are so proud to be selling and presenting, to our guests and clients. So we want to make sure that everybody is aware of them and all the great things that we have available for people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's segue to getting through this, because I know you've been doing, and when I say you, I mean Landry's Corporation in general, has been doing, it seems like, everything they can to continue to enhance the brand, to provide a customer experience through this. Whether it's my words, not yours, take home kits to make your own Morton style steak dinner at home, gift cards, being open when and where you can. how do you continue to live that brand experience for customers and find ways to continue to provide that experience? Using overusing the word experience, but hey, it's branding the experience the show. Yeah, how do you continue to provide that high class experience for your customers even through this insanity that we have now?
Well, I think the most important thing that we have to do right now is to really understand what is important to the client. And those were always conversations that we were having pre-COVID. What are the business trends of a particular company? How many meetings and events do they have each year? Do they like upscale? Do they like casual? Well, just, kind of the basic questions. Now we really need to understand from all of our clients what's taking place within your company as it relates to COVID. Is everybody working from home? Are you doing virtual holiday parties? Are you doing virtual regional meetings? And how can we be the solution for you during this time? And there are those companies that actually are doing on-site private dining events, and of course, where we are open, we have that option available too. But in terms of providing that outstanding upscale experience, it all comes with really listening to the guests and asking the right questions and staying very close to our account base. So, maybe pre-COVID, with my A account base, for example, I may have had conversations like full, hour-long conversations with our top clients about 4 times a year, let's say, maybe 3, 4 times a year. Now, it can be every 2 weeks because things are changing so much. And we want to stay on top of what's taking place, and we want to be front of mind more than ever because that's what's going to, to really help us to come out of this and stay afloat.
Now, a word from our sponsor, Bader Training and Consulting. BTC has recently partnered with the Success Corps to offer the Podcast for Business Success package. Launching a podcast allows your business to engage directly with your established audience, strengthening an existing bond while simultaneously developing future relationships with prospects who they may have never done business with or met otherwise. Ken Bader and Sean Douglas utilize branding, culture, and strategy to increase engagement between company and customer by launching your uniquely branded, strategically designed podcast, fostering customer relations and business growth. Ken and Sean have hosted over 1,000 podcast episodes across multiple shows and channels. You can watch live, in person, or virtually as they speak at most podcast events around the country, highlighting their expertise as icons of influence in the podcasting space. Ken and Sean not only teach the art of podcasting, but are well-known and respected practitioners, launching dozens of top-rated shows between them and their clients. Ken is also a frequent contributor to Podcast Magazine. Rather than launching your podcast on your own, wouldn't it make sense to have not one but two icons of influence teach you how? Of course it would. So harness the power of your past to launch your future with a perfectly branded podcast. Contact BTC at info@btcinc.net today with podcast package in the subject line for more information today.
Overused phrase, pivot and adapt, and through all this, frankly, when I hear pivot, it almost irritates me now. I've heard
I know.
it so
I know.
much.
When I
Although
use the word, I have to stop myself sometimes because I feel the same way.
although since you guys own the Houston Rockets, that might have a whole different meaning, but on the court. But so looking at 2021 and even beyond in 2022. Fortunately with vaccines, we have a light at the end of the tunnel. As you look strategically, is it for Landry's a hope or a plan to go back to the exact same experience that you've had for years, for customers and clients? or is there something that you're learning that, maybe there's a hybrid here, maybe there's something even beyond COVID that we've been able to embrace, or maybe even an opportunity here that we never even looked at where, yes, we can offer the same type of customer experiences before, but we added X, Y, and Z during COVID, and that's not necessarily going to go away when things, when life without coronavirus begins.
Very true. And it really is a combination of everything that you just said, Ken. Our goal is to get back to the way that things were previously, because there's no reason why it can't be. So there's no reason why trade shows can't come back into the scene, or a private dining event of 50 people or 10 people can't come back onto the scene. And of course, all of our restaurants follow all of the CDC and safety guidelines at all of our locations. So it's a very, very safe and comfortable experience for all of our guests when they come to our locations. Having said that, we have had to look at those other avenues of how can we be a solution to clients, because some corporations may very well be holding private dining events as we speak, but they have other divisions within their company that need something more on a virtual scale. Or they're looking at different ways to stay in front of their client base, and how can they recognize those clients? Can they send them some meal kits or have something picked up curbside? So we have a whole array of different things that I can certainly touch on to share with your audience. But to answer your question, we are looking at everything as we move into 2021, and we may have to shift gears again. But the idea is to get back to the way things were and take along all of the pickup orders and our Landry's Kitchen and the virtual opportunities, because that's not going to go away. So we have been able to successfully move into these different spaces, which is great.
Yeah. With the holidays coming up, and here we are, right around Thanksgiving. But we've got Christmas, we've got Hanukkah, we've got Kwanzaa, and I apologize if I'm missing a holiday from a particular group here. Not my intention in trying to be politically correct. But what are you offering, and what are you suggesting to clients and customers that love the different Landry's brands on how they could utilize your restaurants, utilize you for gift giving, things of that nature? What are you suggesting?
Well, one of the great things is if they're not able to have that on-site dining experience for the holidays. Let's say that their holiday party is booked, but they call us and say, you know what, we need to cancel because a certain state or city has now rolled back to patio, and so they can't have their event. So what we like to do is kind of talk through those different options with them. And much of the time, companies are doing virtual events. So we of course are very familiar with that, and have been doing that, all of us, whether it's internally or with clients for the last 7 months or so. But in the event of having like a virtual holiday event, then there's a couple options. First, if all of those attendees are in markets where we have locations, and of course we're everywhere, in every major secondary and tertiary market, you will have a Landry's location somewhere, whether it's Mastro's, whether it's Morton's, Still Frisco's, McCormick and Schmick's, et cetera. So we can have pre-made meal kits ready to go, where the guest picks it up curbside, and then they take it home, and there's recipe cards inside where they can make this wonderful meal at their leisure. They can either make it on the grill or in their own kitchen, or we can have hot meals ready to go. So that has been very exciting, because people do want to get out of the house. Going to pick up a meal curbside, it's an experience all in and of itself. Instead of going out to dinner, it's exciting to pick up your meal curbside. And now, of course, with all the laws that have changed, you can pick up a bottle of wine, you can pick up spirits in some cases, so long as it's with the purchase of food, at all of our locations. So curbside is one option. Gift cards, of course, that's always a fantastic option, because a Landry's gift card is applicable at all Landry's branded restaurants. You can take it into Mastro's, you can take it into Bubba Gump with the children, you can take it anywhere across the country. And those gift cards do not expire. We can offer you e-cards as well. Whatever works out best for the guest, we can certainly place your logo on that card and either ship the plastic cards or the e-cards. Now, the other option, which is really exciting, is Landry's Kitchen. And I encourage everybody to go to www.landryskitchen.com. This is a site that we developed over the last few months, and it is ever evolving. Now, an individual consumer can go on the site and they can purchase a wide array of seafood and steak packages. And these are all flash frozen proteins. So it's proteins only. They will be shipped with all the proper safety guidelines, FedEx 2-day, to a place of residence or to a business. And, it can be anywhere from seafood towers to filet mignons to porterhouses to New York strip. We have seasoning salts, we have steak knives. It just all depends. There's a whole array of different packages. So that has been very popular with our clients because curbside is great, certainly, and we do get a lot of requests for curbside, but sometimes clients want things shipped directly. And in order for us to ship directly, that doesn't come from our restaurant, that comes from our meat and seafood purveyors who have all the proper safety guidelines in place.
So it's almost like Omaha Steaks, but on steroids.
And you know what? I like that, Ken. I really like that because, Omaha Steaks, there's just so much, to kind of take in. What makes us different is that you're receiving that upscale experience that you would otherwise receive when you go on site to the Palm or to Morton's or to Mastro's. You're having those steaks or that seafood shipped directly to you. With recipe cards and whatnot, and there's videos on the site where you can sear the perfect, steak at home or on the grill or salmon, or we have executive chef bios. There's even the famous chocolate cake available at Strip House in New York. We can ship that to you. So there's just a whole array of things that are available. Down the road, the goal, whether it's a year from now, whether it's months from now, would be to also have some sides included in that package. So, not just the proteins, but to have, a salad, mashed potatoes, or something along those lines. But
if you get a high-end steak, I would assume that even the most basic chef like me, who loves the microwave, can figure out how to make a baked potato to go with it, can't they?
Right. That's very true. That's very, very true. And our step-by-step instructions on how to cook that steak, whether it is in your kitchen or whether it's on the grill outside, are very simple. And you really can be successful at it. So we've had, tremendous feedback where that's concerned. And again, there's so many different options that you can choose from. So individual consumers can go onto the site and shop for their families or just order something for themselves. But now we are working with corporations and organizations that want to send bulk orders, whether it's to their clients or to their employees. So that's been very, very exciting too. And sometimes it's in conjunction with a virtual event that client may be having. And if it is, we also have the option of conducting a full culinary demonstration. Here at our corporate office in Houston, we have all of our corporate chefs, our test kitchen, and we have a production company as well. So we're able to provide that live television experience to clients, which is really great. And we can also do a sommelier component or a spirits component with that culinary demonstration. So that's really been fun for people. They can, if they want to cook along, they can do that. Some are very adventurous and they want to do just that. So, they'll have either the curbside pickup at a local Landry's location, or we will ship directly those steaks or seafood, and then they're ready to go when we do the culinary demonstration.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I'm that all sounds great, but I got to tell you, I'm very upset in that I live in Long Beach, California, and there isn't a Morton's or a McCormick and Schmick's here locally. And I'm too lazy to drive to Anaheim or Irvine. So can you open one of those up in 2021? I know resources are a little bit strapped, but can you help me out?
I'm telling you, Ken, I've still got my eye on that because I know that is a tough one for you because you don't have those options. But you do with Landry's Kitchen. We can certainly
Yes.
show you something very exciting, whether it's steak or seafood. In the meantime, before we build something.
Spoken like a true business development professional. It's like, what we do have.
Always
So
an option.
to get back into serious mode for a second, which is not the mode I usually like to live in anyway. From a strategy standpoint, and as an expert in strategy in restaurants and in being surrounded and working at a high level for the last 22 years at least, do you have any advice or any recommendations for other restaurants out there? Whether it's the mom and pop place, the one-off steak place, even even the fancy place that's been owned by the same family for 80 years that's struggling out there. Any advice for them, given the experience and what you've gone through at Landry's?
That Ken, that is a really great question, and I will tell you, we have learned so much over the last 6 months, and things that not that we took for granted before are really front and center for us, and that is all about saving money and maintaining that profitability. So if I'm working with a client, it during this COVID time, and let's say they understandably have a discount, and they're not able to purchase what they need to that we might have available at the Palm or Mastro's or whatnot. Maybe a year ago I would have given them a discount, let's say, in order to garner their business. But right now we just don't have that option. So whenever we're quoting prices and whenever we are looking at things internally on site at a restaurant, do we really need to clean our hoods, for example, in the kitchen as much as we did before? Because that's an expense. Cleaning the windows and that sort of thing. Can we have a manager do that? I'm sure you've seen at our locations from a safety standpoint, we no longer have all the condiments that are on the table. If you would like some, let's say, mayonnaise or ketchup or sauce or whatnot, we will bring that to you. But is it necessary to bring the entire tube of ketchup to you?
Yeah.
No, it's not. We look at every single cost. We're just going to bring a ramekin to you. And if you would like more, we'll certainly bring more. So we really get down to the granular level of how we can save money and cut costs, but at the same time provide that outstanding experience to our guests. And the other thing that people need to keep in mind, and it really goes without saying, but you have to maintain that graciousness and that hospitality spirit with all of our clients, because now more than ever, they want to know that they're going to be taken care of when they arrive to a Morton's or to Willie G's or to Vic and Anthony's or Mastro's. They want to feel safe walking in. And if they can leave that private dining event or that main dining room and say, wow, not only did I have an exceptional culinary experience, I felt so safe in there
Yeah.
that I think I would go out again. And so you have to do that, and you have to really kind of look at things from a grassroots level. Who are the people within your local community that that you can influence the most, and who will sell for you and refer business to you? You really have to have those one-on-one conversations so that you can get business in the door.
Yeah, great points. By the way, if I ever go to one of your locations and they charge me for a salt packet, I'm gonna email you directly on my phone. But
Let me know. We won't do that, but you let me know. Keep me
and
informed.
I'm gonna say, aren't we taking this a little too far, Joe? But to your point, to kind of close this up, it does come down to the experience, and you could still save money and still create an experience. For instance, you mentioned the ramekin. Putting out a Heinz bottle, just maybe you could do that at Bubba Gump, but putting out a Heinz bottle at Mastro's isn't nearly the experience you want as putting it in a ramekin and having a great presentation and also saving money. And I think that restaurant owners really need to think that way of how can we do both. And what you said too, in terms of it still comes down to the customer experience. I've noticed this here, even in my own home of Long Beach, California now, that these restaurants, one in particular, I'll give a shout out to them, George's Greek Cafe. You don't have any Greek assets, so we can give a plug to our local George's Greek Cafe
Of
over
course. That's all great. That's all good.
here.
All good.
If you want steak, go to Landry's. If you want Greek food, go to George's in Long Beach. But I remember grabbing lunch over there, and it just wasn't crowded because here in California, which in having locations here, you can't dine inside. You have to dine outside, and they've created parklets and a number of different things out here. And it was a colder day. It was really cold here. It was like 62. I say tongue in cheek, and there were probably only two other people in this outside dining area for lunch where it's usually crowded, and the patron commented, says, "Wow, there's nobody here." And I thought the response from the waiter at George's was perfect, which is, it doesn't matter. Every customer is important. We're glad that you're here. And I thought, wow, okay, that is, that's somebody not just being a waiter. That's somebody understanding the experience, and at this time, the importance of every customer, not only for cash flow, but for engagement and to have that relationship.
Well, we would like to hire him because that is exactly the way that you want to engage with your guests. Everyone is a VIP and everyone is important. Even if the dining room isn't packed, what's important is that you are having that incredible hospitality experience and that you will come back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to kind of close up, for our audience out there and the folks that want to take advantage of any of the offers, any of the opportunities there at Landry's, you already mentioned the Landry's Kitchen, and we'll certainly include that URL in the show notes. Where should customers, clients, potential customers and clients go to take advantage of anything that you mentioned, Jill?
They are more than welcome to email me directly, and I
Wow.
will be happy to have a conversation with them and find out what their needs are, because now more than ever, the needs are so unique. It's not just booking a private dining event. It could be curbside, it could be gift cards, it could be Landry's Kitchen. Do go to the Landry's Kitchen website because that is very helpful. And if it is a bulk order that you're looking to purchase, then you will be guided to our Landry's Kitchen team of whom I am a part of, and then we will reach out to you directly. But if you can also go to our individual brand websites. So for example, Mastro's and Morton's and McCormick and Schmick's, and they have their own meal kits that you can purchase curbside. And certainly they have their regular to-go menu as well. So if you are an organization or a company in the local Dallas market, let's say, and you want to purchase let's say 10 meals to go, you can go straight to that location, and the restaurant can assist you, or you can absolutely go through myself. So I encourage everyone to take my email address, which is jhumphrey@ldry.com, and I'll be more than happy to assist you personally.
Perfect. Yeah, I could say from experience that Jill, you're very responsive and do whatever you can to take care of the client used you in Landry's, I should say, for a number of years for a number of reasons, and have rarely, if ever, been disappointed. And for those of you in the audience that can utilize Landry's either personally or from a corporate standpoint, and you have a need at like 3 a.m., Jill's home number is 555. I just wanted to get the reaction and see what
I
you would.
love it. I love it. we do get those phone calls from time to time.
I think Tillman's probably the only one allowed to call at 3 in the morning with a need. But anyhow, be that as it may, Jill, I always enjoy talking to you. Very, very pleased that we were able to get you on this show, talk about what Landry's is doing, and talk about restaurants and hospitality in general during this very tough time. Thank you, Jill, for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Ken. It has been an honor anytime, and we look forward to serving you and your organization.
My pleasure. Great having you. And thank you to all of you who have watched Branding the Experience. And here's hoping that you're branding the experience at a very high level for all those you serve. Take care.